Well, hello. It is just me today. Man, leave it to Nick to go away. And there is a ton of news. Holy buckets. Oh, in fact, I forgot to do my banners. Stand by. I'll let you guys trickle into the, I'm going to raise my volume here. There we go. I'll let you guys trickle into the chat, and I'm going to put together some banners because I don't have Nick, so I don't have anywhere I can like cheat while Nick does a banner. While Nick talks and I do my banner. So how are you? Who we got in the chat room right now? Speak or forever hold your peace. Let's see. And then we have story 2. And then story 3. Oh. And then story 4 is and then story 5 is okay, cool. Looks like we're set. Actually, I don't know. Is this gonna make it? Yeah, cool. All right. So I may as well. Let's see who we got in the chat. Sorry, I can't. Hey, anybody want to like speak up? I'm a little concerned. I'm not seeing anything from AC Wraith, who is our mod. AC Wraith, have you just abandoned us? Abandoned me? A2? Nick and then AC Wraith? Am I really going to be doing this completely solo with no mods? That's going to be interesting. So to keep you, I know, because you're all like desperate to find out what happened with the frozen turkeys. To back up, I wanted to buy one deep freezer from an auction, and I one, maybe two. I ended up with 5, and 3 of them were full of very expensive pasture raised heritage turkeys. So I've got to sell the turkeys before I sell the refrigerators or the deep freezers, because I cannot have all of them. Hey, there's my boy. Thank you for reminding me. There's our Patreon link. There you go. Ooh, my nose just got super itchy all of a sudden. It's super nice out in San Francisco. So the plants are puking pollen at the moment. Yeah, I gotta sell them the deep freezers, but I can't sell the deep freezers till I sell the turkeys, because I'm not gonna eat 15 frozen turkeys. It would take me a year. So I did sell a few of them. I had one of them last week, one of the small ones that was delicious. My neighbor made it. Today, I am making another one, which is actually the more expensive type of the two, the more of the like boutique. I mean, the turkey I have, which is a 15-pound turkey in the refrigerator right now, would probably cost around, well, actually, no, I could do the math here. It is $12.99 a pound to buy them now. $12.99 times, and it is it's actually more than a 15-pound turkey. It's a $194 turkey. I've got it started in the kitchen right now. So we'll see how that goes. I may have to like dip out for a second to check to make sure that, because I mean, in 60 minutes, I'm supposed to do something. So we'll see how it goes. So your monitor was declared lost. They sent another that was supposed to be here Wednesday, got delayed, and now it's a mere 2 towns away. So I expect tomorrow. Yay! So you're no longer on a CRT. And you should just recycle that shit, dude, or CRT. You probably should have 2 monitors, 1 monitor and 1 backup monitor. I'll send you a backup monitor because I still have, I mean, there's 2 right there that I'm sort of holding on to, but I'm not really quite sure because I haven't touched them in a very long time, but they're like my PC monitors. Yeah, the CRT right now, but hopefully not tomorrow. Well, keep me posted. Text me. Let me know if it comes because I'm actually quite interested of whether you actually get a CRT. All right. So what I'm going to do is it sounds like I am a little hot here. I'm going to dial myself a little bit back and then I'm going to raise myself here. Okay. So I'm no longer distorting. Yay. We prefer non-distortion. All right. And then I'm going to raise mine in my own head because I did the wrong thing. So how's the voice? Is it loud enough? Is it too soft? I can't tell because I'm not listening to the live feed. You are. CRT backup is fine. It's fine when the bottom of the screen doesn't get smushed into a millimeter. Yeah. I remember CRTs, that whole thing when it would like roll up, the bottom would roll up on top of on the like fold. Oh yeah, that was always so much fun. Vertical hold. Oh my God. Vertical hold. There's a throwback that doesn't happen anymore. Horizontal hold and vertical hold. Yay. So, might as well start the show. And actually I have been inspired, and I'm not going to share why right now. I mean, I might share in the future, but I was inspired to start uploading to like not just like a promise and like, I'll do it tomorrow. Like something happened that made me go, man, I really, really need to start uploading. I'm not going to share it yet. It's early days, let's just say. But it was a very interesting situation I found myself into that I'll share later. Nick, oh, by the way, I should share this with you. Nick texted me. Let's see if I can find the text from Nick. Nick's texted me. Let me download this. And now maybe, stand by. Oh, no. Oh, this is loud. Stop. Okay, good. Nick texted, well, I'm not going to go through the hassle of putting it up. Nick's texted me from December and it was pissing snow. I mean, it was snow. So he left California when it's freaking beautiful today. It's the last 2-3 days have been like the clouds parted. You can hear angels singing when you walk out the door. It is perfect weather right now. And Nick is in like total snow downpour in Denver. So sucks to be him. And maybe even Nick. In fact, I should like text him. I'm like, hey Nick, I'm actually live and going solo with news. Pray for me! Exclamation point. Maybe he'll jump in the chat. So let's actually start the show with music because I'm gonna start uploading. So here it is. Start the show.
Podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 713. We are recording this on Sunday, April 21st, 2024. I'm Edie Sellers and I am Edie Sellers alone. There is no Nick with me. There is no goalie with me. There is just me and me. And I know we were supposed to be doing games. I was going to, and I still am. I'm still going to finish Baldur's Gate later tonight. But for right now, there was so much news this week. It is insane. And about, I would say, Thursday, I realized there is no way we're not going to be able to do a show because if we have to wait 2 weeks for Nick to come back, it will be a 10-hour show trying to catch everything. Either that or there's going to be stuff we're not going to talk about. And they're kind of big things. So as far as games I've played, it might be a short show today because as far as games that I've played, I have not played a damn thing. It has been a week of rock and roll. And the reason why is because my company decided that they wanted to do a seminar instead of having like a big spring everybody get together from all the whole company and we all go on a trip together. We're actually going to be doing a professional development seminar, which was a great idea for the two owners to decide. But as you know, at my work, I am known as the Edie button. You press the Edie button and things happen. Hey, I need a dozen muffins. Press the Edie button. Hey, I need to do a seminar in a month. Press the Edie button. So the Edie button got pressed. And this week, my job is to organize and create an entire seminar, including hotel rooms and the ballroom to hold it and getting the AV equipment and the evening dinner before and organizing reservations for 25 for lunch and everything. So and this is going to be in Sacramento and I'm in, San Francisco Bay Area. So I have been going back and forth between here and Sacramento on the train, not every day, but a couple of times already, and was up there this week and spent the whole day there. So it's been just, by the time I come back from work, it's walk the dogs, piddle the dogs, stuff food mountain down my throat, watch 10 minutes of YouTube videos and go to bed. So that's why I haven't played anything. But tonight, and I'm going to call it I'll call it 6 o'clock. Call it 6:30. 6:30 p.m. No, because let's make it 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. I will be playing on Twitch the very, 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 very last bit of Baldur's Gate. Like the final, I have no idea, but I'm thinking it can't be more than like maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. And I am going to try to natural 20 that one last thing with the elder brain. And if I can't natural 20 it in one roll, I'm just going to keep going because I'm going to trust that I'll just get a good ending because I'm a good person. It works, right? So, all right. So, given that I don't have anything to talk about game wise, we're just going to pop right into the news. And I'm kind of a news hound, so that's my thing. So, let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie. So our first item is, and I'll just go like above the fold. Actually, pretty much everything is the above the fold this week. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was officially revealed, and holy shit. I think I texted Nick that, oh, sorry. Come on, stupid. I don't know why the default on StreamYard is to loop. I don't know why that is the default. Anyway, holy crap, Kingdom Come Deliverance was dropped, and I know I told Nick that if I had a dick, it would be so hard right now. It looks amazing. I mean, truly, truly good. Um, it's very long video. So they went into quite a bit of detail about it. If you haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance, it is a medieval fighter, but it's not Skyrim. It's the whole point of it is medieval accuracy. And it is still following the same the same character. It's just the continuation of the story, and it according to when in this trailer that you're seeing right over there, Warhorse Studios Hans well, no, Hans is the name of the character. What's the name? Vavra, the Daniel Vavra, who is the creative director for Kingdom Comes Deliverance, said so many things that made me so freaking happy. There's going to be new weapons. There's going to be crossbows, and primitive firearms. And it's going to continue the story of Henry, who is the main character, and his friends, and I guess the knight that is his kind of his number two, Hans. And they're going to leave the where they are, essentially. I don't know where they said that it's going to be very much more focused on the city of Kuttenberg, which is where the original game was set. But this is going to be Henry not as a kind of naive teenager who is thrust into the world of uh, a complicated world of politics and war. This is now Henry as an adult after the situation that happened in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. The game is going to be, according to Daniel Vavra, much bigger. And it wasn't a small game. I mean, 1 was not a small game. 2 is going to be even bigger. In fact, they say it's going to be double the size. He said much bigger in scope, with a more in-depth story and a world that's about, like I said, twice as the size of the first game. And the first game wasn't a dinky one to start off with. And that the story has evolved into less about an individual boy turning a man in this very complicated political and social upheaval, but more of a small scale conflict of what it was to a large scale conflict, and it's more one about the problems with kings. So I'm wondering if it has to do more with a revolution within Kingdom Come Deliverance, within Kuttenberg and the King of Kuttenberg. So, this is the quotes from Vavra. He said, "What we're making now was what it was supposed to be in the beginning, but we weren't able to do it because we didn't have enough resources and experiences and all that stuff. We've proven the concept works, so now we can take it to another level, which is what we always wanted." And in that, which was really surprising to me, Kingdom Come Deliverance Guess how many people they made that game with? 11. They made that game with 11 people. But because of the success of one, they said they now have 200 people working on two. So that's like sometimes having more people is a not a great thing. I am really hoping against hope that that is not the situation here in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, that it's too many cooks. I think that we're in a pretty safe state for that because this isn't a new IP. They knew what they wanted to do. They have this character. They know what works, and they don't want to go too far from it. They just want to make it bigger and more of the grand scale that they were hoping to make. And both story-wise, narratively, cinematically, size-wise, and accuracy-wise. So something else that was brought up that wasn't in this game, um, or wasn't in this trailer, was interviews with Vavra after the fact done. Oh, sorry, I take it back. Wasn't Vavra? It was the spokesperson for the game, Warhorse Studio, for the studio that's making the game, Tobias Stoltz Zwilling. He was interviewed by IGN. And one of the things that was brought up is that the original Kingdom Come Deliverance, yes, it was set in medieval Poland, but it they tried to be historically accurate, but they did take a lot of controversy because it was very racially monolithic. There was no diversity. And yes, I know, don't get into them. This is not a DEI thing. It's that they presented a historically accurate medieval game, and yet it was missing a very large section of what was historically accurate as far as diversity. In that time, yes, there was diversity. It wasn't all just white Poles. There were a lot of people in that time and that area, and they weren't represented. And when you claim that a game is historically accurate, them being missing was kind of noted by people who know history. And the argument back then was because it was focused on a very small area of Poland, this area of Kuttenberg, and just kind of like its surrounding areas. That was the argument that they had. One, that they didn't have enough people to really just put a lot of diversity into it. They would have loved to, but also that they kind of, because they made it such a small scale, comparatively to the entire region at that time, that was kind of, they essentially rationalized it, which was fine and understandable. But because now it is a bigger scope, it is a bigger story, it is a bigger map, and it's going to be beyond that city and into the greater region, which I'm assuming is the case, that according to Tobias Stoltz Zwilling, was as interviewed by IGN, quote, "The story and plot of KCD has evolved. It's darker, deeper, and more cinematic, yet also crueler, with pivotal decisions and plot twists that challenge the player's conscience. Nevertheless, it retains its humor and down-to-earth approach. As mentioned earlier, Henry is embarking on a journey from the countryside and local quarrels to a relatively cosmopolitan city that is besieged and occupied by an invading king. Naturally, in a place like this, people can expect a wide range of ethnicities and different characters that Henry will meet in its journey." So I bring that up not so much as about the lack of variations in ethnicity by comparison, but also in the information that it gives you a sense more of what this game is about, that this game becomes much bigger. He goes from a kind of provincial major city to a actual cosmopolitan major city, which I am so excited for. I cannot wait for this game. I'm hoping to be everything I hoped and dreamed that it would be. And if you want to see the trailer, thank you, AC Wraith. As usual, there is the link. And also the link to the IGN interview. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited. I think it looks, at least what was in the trailer, looks absolutely gorgeous. They also focused on the music. The music practically brought tears to my eyes. It is so beautiful. So well done, Warhorse. Well done on a great reveal trailer. And I think kind of the thing that really made me sport the Woody, the virtual Woody, is that they said it's going to be out before the end of the year. So I'm figuring October, November. Hard to say, but that's where my guess is it's going to be October. So I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more excited. And I think that this is going to it points out that I really have to dive into Dragon's Dogma now. I got to do Dragon's Dogma because I've got to get that off my plate before this game rolls in, because once this game I'm thinking 300 hours into Kingdom Come Deliverance. I think that I am going to put even more. I mean, obviously, it's a bigger game. And if I play that game the way that I played Kingdom Come Deliverance, where I played every bit of that game, I think that I will probably end up being, it might be a 500-hour game for me. We'll see. We'll see. So my next item is let's make it all right, Wizards of the Coast. Oops, sorry, not that. There we go. I don't know if you heard the news. It was kind of came as a shock and yet sort of not a shock. Wizards of the Coast announced this week, I think it was Wednesday, that Cynthia Williams, the president of Dungeons and Dragons publisher Wizards of the Coast and also Magic the Gathering, will resign. Her last that was announced on April 15th. Oop, hold on a second. Stop. Her last day is going to be April 26th. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched many CEO resignations, especially if you don't announce a successor at the time, and there was no successor announced. They're usually longer than that. It's very rare that a CEO just leaves with nobody in place to pick them up. It's almost always, unless the CEO is being thrust out the door, let's just say, to a golden parachute, I'm sure, but at least pushed from the plane, using the golden parachute, that they usually announce a successor, and no successor was announced, which means to me that she was given an ultimatum: jump or be pushed. And so she jumped. Wizards of the on the plus side, Wizards of the Coast did announce this week. By the way, the earnings were also announced this week. So, Wizards of the Coast took in $120 million more in 2023 compared to 2022. So they did much better. Wizards of the Coast revenue is up 40%. That's not bad. However, that is despite a bunch of things that did not pan out. Really, the reason why revenue was up in 2023 was because of Baldur's Gate 3. It was not about the other things that happened. Actually, another contributor was the Lord of the Rings series, which also did very well for them. But everything else, I mean, those were the two bright spots. Everything else in 2023. By the way, Cynthia Williams only been there 2 years. 2 years. So this was essentially her second year. And anything other than those 2 bright spots, and honestly, the revenues from those bright spots were already established well before Cynthia Williams took over. So it happened, like the profits came under her tenure, but it wasn't due to anything she did. The things that she did do, however, not exactly good. Repeated controversies, many massive financial, I mean, I wouldn't call them abject failures, but in general failures. Um, they had a massive round of layoffs in December that wiped out 1,100 jobs. They did this as a cost saving move. They also had tons of other things that did not do well. The D&D Honor Amongst Thieves, the movie, failed to break even. It brought only 208 million and didn't really capture the imagination of D&D fans or non D&D fans. Even though Nick liked it, everybody that I know that wasn't a gamer thought it was the stupidest movie ever. Just absolutely insulting. So it didn't do well in the theaters, lost them money. Their stock price plummeted during Cynthia Williams' tenure there. It went from $102 a share to as low as $52 a share. So that's like almost 50%. So, and they ended up spending an awful lot of money. They ended up selling, my bad. They ended up selling some very important IPs or very important assets that really was the thing that ended up kind of making 2023 better. 2023 would have been an absolute loss. They would not have increased their profits had it not been for the fact that they actually sold assets. So even with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, that couldn't save the losses that were being taken by Hasbro under Cynthia Williams. They sold their film and TV department, E1, to Lionsgate for $500 million last August. So do the math on this. They increased their revenues $120 million. They took in $120 million more in 2023 than 2022, but they sold their film department for $500 million, which means that had they not sold that they would have been in the hole $400 million. They would have been $400 million down from 2023, more or less. So, bottom line, Cynthia Williams was a terrible CEO. And on top of that, the whole 6th edition, just that I give an abject failure. The 6th edition boondoggle that's going on with the 6th edition being delayed, and then their whole I forget the 4-letter term with changing the contract for using D&D and trying to make anybody doing anything with D&D's the license, the something license. I'm having a brain cramp because I'm old. And all I can think of is personal C license, and that's a sports thing. But that whole license mess just did terrible things. D&D didn't bring in any new fans through the movie. And I'm talking about the things that Wizards of the Coast did, not other people did by actually increasing interest in D&D by playing it more. But Wizards of the Coast did a terrible thing to its reputation with existing fans, both with the license and the OGL. Thank you, OpenGL. I just had it came up in my head. The OGL mess, pissing off everybody that does play D&D and was supporting D&D, the home brewers and everybody else who even was selling like crocheted hats on Etsy. And then their decisions to, or the things that they wanted to do to get possibly more people attracted to D&D, the movie failed. Cynthia Williams did do a good job of really promoting the digital aspects of D&D, the D&D Beyond. It wasn't, that's not wrong. The future of D&D is obviously going to be digitally supported, but she did such a ham-fisted job of trying to shove it down the throats of everyone that plays D&D. It just, she was a mess. And I mean, that there was no rumor of who or what caused her to leave, but I think the reason why she left was essentially Cynthia Williams and her terrible job. And she flat out said she doesn't even like D&D. She doesn't even really play it. She didn't play it before she came on board. I think her hire in general was a failure. Ever since Bobby Kotick took over Activision, and he didn't care. He didn't come from the gaming background, but he was at least as far as stockholders are concerned, and profits are concerned, Bobby Kotick was a good hire. He was able to pivot, and he doesn't care what he sells. It was just another widget. Not everybody is Bobby Kotick. And one of the things that Bobby Kotick never said was, I don't play games and I don't really care about them. And then Cynthia Williams did. You don't do that to D&D fans. You got to be a fan of Magic. You've got to be a fan of D&D if you're going to be the head of Wizards of the Coast. Period. The end. So she was a bad hire. She never should have been hired in the first place. And I'm hoping that they learned their lesson, that you need to get somebody who's already got a background. And there are a number of people out there that have a background in making successful D&D adjacent, not Wizards of the Coast, that publishing, but adjacent businesses that are successful, that have been in that role in smaller companies doing really, really well in that space, that actually like D&D, that actually like Magic the Gathering, that don't look at us as just essentially marks that she wants to pickpocket, is essentially what Cynthia. We were just sheep. We were sheeple that she was going to herd. I need to have somebody in that position who sees D&D players and Magic the Gathering players and all of their fans as part of the family. And I'm hoping that they learn their lesson. That maybe you could do that with a video game. You could do that with Call of Duty, but you cannot do that with Magic and D&D. So we'll see how that goes. I will keep you posted. And I put the parentheses down there of in shame because it's like the announcement didn't say in shame, but all of the like benchmarks of being forced to resign. 2 weeks notice, no successor announced. Just like this, like, oh, she did a great job and we wish her the best in her future endeavors. She was fired. So yeah, that happened. Next item. Speaking of layoffs, of which was just the Coves. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, by the way. Let me bring that up. 1,100 people fired, and almost all of them were people that were working in the partnership with Baldur's Gate 3. In fact, it was Larian that had said that, let me pull up the quote here. Let me see. Sven Vicky of Larian said, he's the CEO of Larian, said, quote, Wizards of the Coast have seen massive layoffs. There's no one left from the original meeting with them. So you share so much knowledge about D&D. It's sad. And I'm not judging anyone. fun fact, anytime anybody says, I'm not judging anyone, they're judging someone. I'm not judging anyone, but they are gone. But their knowledge is now out there, meaning that they essentially cut off any ability for something similar. I mean, Nirina said they're not going to do a Baldur's Gate 3, but something similar happening, a partnership happening with a game studio, that because when you get rid of all the people that actually did it, the really successful partnership, and now who's going to do the next one? They have to essentially reinvent the wheel, and the wheel was already invented perfectly round the first place. So yeah, it was all bad. Anyway, back to layoffs. Some there's been massive layoffs all across the industry. But one of the layoffs that were one of the companies that we thought would never have layoffs had layoffs. Take-Two, which I find really surprising. Take-Two laid off 5% of its workforce. They said it was a cost-cutting measure, which means that their profits aren't what they should be. And of course, when you hear cost-cutting measure, that's not because they're not making money, because Take-Two's making money. They're just not making the money that investors and shareholders want. And remember, shareholders want 20% growth every year, and they don't really care that costs have gone up and the cost of money is now at 7%. Like prime rate is just through the roof because they've increased and everything's more expensive, and they're trying to cool down inflation. So inflation is very much a thing. They don't care. They still want their 20% growth every year. So they had to do some cost-cutting measures, and they're laying off 5% of its workforce, which comes to about 579 people out of the 11,580 that Take-Two discloses in their impact report. Take-Two has not specified which parts of the company these 579 people are coming from, or which teams might be affected, which games might be effective, which projects might be dropped. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6 is definitely still happening. Don't worry about that. But I would imagine that I'm not going to say a lot of redundancy, but Take-Two, as a very profitable company, has a lot of staff. 1,100 or 11,000 people, more than 11,000 people work for Take-Two, and that's what they've disclosed. It probably doesn't include contractors and everything else. So, oh gosh, I'm getting texts, of course I am. So yeah, that's a lot of people. And I would imagine there's probably some fat to be cut. So 579 people is not a lot for a company that size, but it is significant because Take-Two is considered an incredibly successful company, incredibly profitable company, and they've got this game coming out that is kind of the all hands on deck game. Granted, it's not going to be out for a while, but still, it is the big, 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 big title, the headline title of the entire company. So, they said that it's going to cost them $200 million, or the phrase in investor speak is they will incur charges of $200 million. So it's going to cost them $200 million to fire these people. But they're going to end up saving about $165 million per year. And it's not happening all at once. It's going to be happening throughout the year of 2024. And they said that it's going to be, quote unquote, largely complete by December 31st, 2024. So it's in comparison to most of the layoffs that we've seen, most of the cost-cutting measures that we have seen in the video game industry, it is nowhere near as big as most. But still, it's it's notable because of the size and the success of layoffs. It kind of proves that nobody, not even Take-Two, is immune to the layoff crunch right now. Thank you very much for the links. Oh yeah, sorry, AC Wraith. Yeah, they're calling 6th edition 1 D&D. Yeah, I know it's a terrible name. Terrible name. And now that I've done that, I need to take a break because, as I said, I got to check on the turkey. I got the alarm went off, and I got to go check the turkey because I got to make sure that those legs are at 145 degrees. So I'll be right back. Stand by. I should get some music. Should I get some music? Yeah, let's do some music. I have no idea. What's a good one? Nick really likes rock, so we'll play the horrible rock music that comes as just like a standard music here. So I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Just gotta check a turkey. Stand by. And we're back. It's at 120, so we got some time. I got to set the alarm here. Hey Siri, set timer for 25 minutes. That should be good, right? 5 minutes, counting down. Thanks, Siri. So 25 minutes, and I got to check the turkeys again. The legs. Yeah, I'm doing a different method where you break down the turkey in all different pieces, and then stick them in at different times because they all bake different ways. I'm trying to give it like the best chance of actually being a really good turkey. All right. So next item. Next item is Nintendo emulators. You know you love them. I don't, because I don't play Nintendo. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't play Nintendo games. I've said this before. It is that period of time between when I was in high school and when I was in college that the N64 came out, and I didn't play it because I was in college. And yes, I'm old. So, Apple has loosened its rules on allowing retro game emulators, and there are Nintendo emulators now available for free, at least one really good one, on the App Store this week. And it is off this particular app. The big one right now is has support for several different Nintendo consoles from the past. So Tetsuit is the name of the company that's putting it out. They have revealed their app Delta, which is a successor to their previous app, which was GBA for iOS, which is Game Boy Advance emulator. And it's this new one, Delta, doesn't just have support for Game Boy, but also the NES, the Sega Genesis, the SNES, the N64, and even the Nintendo DS. So this is now available on the App Store for your phone. And Tetsuit, the company that's released it, said that they're going to they're expecting to add even more emulators to Delta in the future. So the app is free to download. It is available on Apple's store. You don't, unlike the past, you don't have to jailbreak your phone now to have a Nintendo emulator on your iPhone. Um, in the EU, you can download it through the Alt Store PAL, which is a third-party marketplace, because I think the EU has some regulations that doesn't allow it. Their Digital Markets Act, the DMA, um, it allows third-party app stores to be third parties to be hosted on the App Store, so you don't have to do it through the App Store. You can actually go elsewhere and download stuff. So Alt Store PAL for the EU. But in the US, you can get it actually on the App Store. So it's going to cost. By the way, the Alt Store PAL costs a dollar, or let's say €1.50 per year. So there is a cost to actually being on that store, but the actual app itself is free. So the app itself is interesting because, as I said before, before Apple loosened its rules on emulators, you had to jailbreak your iPhone in order to put an emulator on your phone. Now you can just put it directly. That being said, Apple has made emulators legal to put on their App Store. Doesn't mean Nintendo is okay with it. There have been several emulators that have shown up and then disappeared, or that haven't gone on to the iPhone because people are scared. I mean, people have actually said it's out of fear. The developers have said it's out of fear. We're not putting it on there because we don't want to be sued by Nintendo. And Nintendo, as you probably know, is notoriously litigious about apps, emulators, and anything Nintendo that they don't sanction or make themselves. So you might want to pick up Delta because I would imagine Nintendo's going to have a little bit of a hard time with that. I think Delta is going to get sued out of existence. So if you want an emulator, you may want to go pick it up sooner rather than later, because Nintendo's not going to let that stand. They aren't. It's not going to happen. And let's see, I've already gone over that, and I've done that, and I've done that, I've done that. All right, I only have one more item. So actually, I may be off earlier than I thought. God, 3:00? Not even an hour-long show? What? That's crazy talk. Rumor. Very, very interesting rumor. You know I love these, like, dishy, inside baseball stories about the industry. That is my bread and butter. I live for this stuff, and the more dishy it is, the more I love it. So the latest dish that I'm going to be watching, and you should too. So there's this rumor that Sony is looking to buy Paramount. Yeah, the company that makes the PlayStation is looking to own. So it's the parent's company. So their entertainment division is looking to purchase Paramount. And if you're unaware what Paramount has under its umbrella, it has Nickelodeon and MTV and Paramount Pictures and Paramount Plus. Very interesting. And this is according to reports from the New York Times and Bloomberg. So it's not just like, some crazy ass thing from Japan where it has to go through translations and it turns out to be complete bunk. This is coming from the New York Times and the Bloomberg, which is pretty good bona fides for this rumor. They said that Sony and an investment firm called Apollo Global Management, AGM, are considering making a joint offer to acquire all of Paramount. Now, no proposal, like black and white proposal, has been reportedly proposed yet, has been submitted, but they're talking and it's in the works. Paramount is still currently in theoretically exclusive talks with another company called Skydance Media about a potential merger, but now we have this other suitor. Now comes the new contender that are actually with a lot of money behind it, because Tony's got some pretty deep pockets. No amount of money has been mentioned, but you can best believe there's hundreds of millions of dollars that I don't know what Skydance Media is, but I can guarantee they do not have the pockets that Sony does. Even and I have no idea about this global investment firm, but I would imagine if they're matching up with Sony, they're probably also got very deep pockets. So, this is going to be interesting if they get it. So if that would happen, it it would be very interesting to see the company that does Spider-Man, because they've got the Columbia Pictures as being the obvious example of like essentially where Sony exploits its TV and movie IPs to games. That would be super interesting. And if you think about it, we are talking about the company that has let's see, what does that have? It has, oh come on, did I not put it down? But it's got everything. It's got MTV, it's got Nickelodeon, everything Nickelodeon, including SpongeBob SquarePants. All of that would be in theory under Sony if that would go through. But here's another interesting thing. Oh, that's right. Here it is. Star Trek, Mission Impossible, and if with Nintendo, SpongeBob SquarePants. So there's like three notable IPs that would come under Sony if this all happens. But here's another interesting thing. Something else that is under the Paramount umbrella is the Halo TV series that they just did their second season, so they're not going away. And yeah, that is that show is under Paramount Plus. If Sony were to acquire Paramount, that would mean that that Microsoft still has the Halo IP through 343 Studios. They're still going to be making the games, but the TV series would be made by PlayStation. There is some tea. There is something popcorn worthy. And I'm very much wondering if, now that this has come out, if there's some shenanigans and movement under Microsoft to possibly acquire Paramount as well. Now, Microsoft also has more money than God. They've got very deep pockets as well. But I can't imagine somewhere up in Redmond, they're thinking to themselves, do we really want the Halo TV series to be in the hands of our chief competitor? Because if we succeed and their show fails, then it would actually hurt our IP. And if we succeed with our games, and that would make more money. It actually boosts our chief competitor. It's a lose-lose situation for them with Halo games. That if theoretically, PlayStation could make a terrible TV series, because one of the things about TV series is it's one, it services the fans, right? It makes like The Witcher. Witcher fans absolutely flock to The Witcher. But word of mouth will make people that are not Witcher fans start watching The Witcher, and ostensibly drive people that are watching the successful show to playing the game. Kind of like Game of Thrones was so huge and it helped the books. People that read the books loved Game of Thrones. People who didn't read the books went back to get the books because they loved the show. It's supposed to be synergistic. So if the TV show was in Sony's hands, in theory, Sony could make, I'm not going to say intentionally, but they might intentionally make a terrible series. So it would essentially allow Halo to not get the new fans and the revenue from new fans coming from a successful show. Kind of sabotage new fans coming from that area, from that vehicle of that. It would wreck the synergy. It would make essentially a negative synergy. Alternately, if they make a really good show and a really good game, right? Say Microsoft makes a great Halo game and Sony makes a really good show, it would actually drive people to want to watch the show. If you have more fans of the game are going to watch the show. It would drive them to there. So it's actually helping your competitor by making a good game. And if Microsoft makes a bad game, right? If Sony makes a good show, then everyone will say, well, the show is better, and then be looking at Microsoft, right? So that's not a win for them. And if Microsoft makes a bad game and Sony makes a bad show, it hurts the overall IP, which is owned by Microsoft. It is a lose situation for Microsoft for Microsoft if Sony acquires Halo. There is no winning scenario for them. It either will help their chief competitor or it will hurt themselves, right? I would venture to guess there's at least some conversations up in Redmond right now trying to figure out if they want to purchase that IP or purchase Paramount. I would also venture to guess that they are discussing whether they may want to partner with this Skydance, who is in exclusive talks right now, meaning that Paramount can't talk right now with Sony at all because they've signed an exclusive talks arrangement. It's a business thing that they do. Only when those talks break down or when they hit a certain deadline that's outlined in their exclusive negotiation agreement can they start talking to Sony. Microsoft may very well be approaching Skydance, and saying, hey, I know you're in discussions with them. Would you like to partner with us? We will be your deep pockets that you can rely on. But when you do, here's what we want. We want the Halo television series. And you can do whatever you want to it, but we want the IP for the series. And then you can license it, put it out somewhere. It may be that Microsoft never wants to make the television series, just lets it die because it is, a little bit of a risk that it's out there. But they may want to actually pull that into their own. So we'll see. We'll see. Popcorn, baby. Popcorn moments. I love these. My favorite meal is popcorn and tea. All right. Speaking of favorite meals, I have a turkey that I need to check on in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. 7 o'clock tonight, Pacific time, 11 o'clock, that would be 10 o'clock Eastern. I am going to be on Twitch right here to talk about, or to do on Twitch to do the very final of Baldur's Gate and finish it up and get it out of my system. So and then I'm going to dive into Dragon's Dogma and maybe do another like playthrough of Baldur's Gate. Or if one or more of you wants to play Helldivers with me tonight, I'm all down for it too. You can find me on PlayStation Gamer Edie, GamerEdie, one word, Gamer Edie, and we'll see you then, hopefully. So thanks again, AC Ray. Thank you again for being here for this super short show. Oh, here we go. AC Ray. Deadline is confirmed that Sony Pictures Entertainment CEO Tony Vinciquerra has been in talks with Apollo Global Management about making a go for Paramount. Sony's CEO is in talks with Apollo Global Management. So this is the one they're going to partner with about making a go for Paramount. This despite Skydance Redburn Capital being in exclusive talks with Paramount Global's majority shareholder National Amusements to take control of the studio. Exactly. So they're in exclusive talks. Venture to guess, Microsoft might be also, if not now, but in the near future, having a conversation with somebody at Skydance and Redburn Capital to see if they can get in on this this exclusive management. Because when that expires, damn right that Paramount is going to be looking at Sony. Still haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home. It's okay, neither am I. But I'm not really big into the DC/Super Mario universe. Nick just sent me a next, says, "You can do it. You can do it." Sonic movies as well. Yep. Sonic movies. I imagine Sega doesn't care since it went software. Well, yeah, Sega doesn't care. And Sega is not the number one competitor for Sony. It's more of like, hey, we're all in the same industry and we're not competing with you. Because it's a matter of scale. But Sony, Microsoft, that's very much a competitive arrangement. It's a battle to own who takes credit for Keanu Reeves voicing the Shadow in Sonic Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Yeah, true. All right. Yeah, Spider-Man is Marvel. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I know any of the cinematic universes. I never got into them. I fully admit that. It's okay. You can still be a video game geek and not care. There's so many other things that I care about, and that's kind of not one of them. Now, if I really had a really good reason to like dive into it, I would. But at this point, the whole cinematic universe is all of the universe, like the whole thing is so big that it's kind of like watching The Godfather. It's a commitment of time to just catch up with it. And unlike The Godfather, the current universe is continuing to be grown. So you're constantly losing. I would essentially have to go to school to become a fan. And that's kind of the one thing that's keeping me away from really diving into and getting into all the minutia of it. Because at this point, I'm so late to the party. It would be a full-time job I would actually have to make a commitment of time that I don't have to learn the entire universe. Yeah, I could marathon them, but no. I don't want to marathon them. I don't want to marathon a bunch of movies. You know what I used to do for a living? Marathon fucking movies. I don't want to be that anymore. That's the reason why I'm not a film critic. I hated marathoning a bunch of fucking movies. I hated watching movies before movies so that I could actually actually critique a movie. My first, I was assigned to to review Harry Potter 3. The one that Chris Columbus, I can't remember what was the name. What was it? I should know this. What was the third Harry Potter movie? It's the one that was done by Chris Columbus. AC Wraith. I'm sure you're looking this up right now. I was assigned to review the Harry Potter movie. I had not read any of the books. I hadn't seen any of the movies. I had to read all the books and see all the 2 preceding movies before I saw 3. Okay? All right? I was assigned that on Monday, and the screening was Wednesday. I had 3 days to do that. Thank you, The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's exactly what it was. So I had 3 days to read 3 Harry Potter books, because I needed to read The Prisoner of Azkaban. So I had to read 3 Harry Potter books and watch 2 Harry Potter movies in 3 days. 2.5 days, because I got assigned it in the afternoon, and I had to go the evening of Wednesday, the afternoon on Monday, and I had to see the movie on Wednesday evening. Yeah, that sucked. And that was just one of those kinds of movies that I had to do. So I don't really, and it was kind of the reason why I didn't want to be a film critic anymore. It was a job. It was hard. It was sit down. It's one thing to sit down and read a book or watch a movie for fun. It is a whole other thing to sit down and watch a movie and read a book and analyze it, like critique it, not just watch it for like enjoyment, but actually look at how things are done. You're in a different place, different left brain versus right brain, different place watching these movies, different place reading those books. And to do it on a deadline, one after the other, it was like drinking from a fire hose. And I did that a lot. So the thought of like, oh, hey, I am going to marathon the Marvel universe or marathon the DC universe is so unappealing to me. Truly offend. There's a lot of things I would rather do. I would rather marathon YouTube than do that. I tried to find where you worked instead. Got an article of you quoting you judging drones. Yeah, because I did most of my stuff under my maiden name. It would be under the San Francisco Independent or the San Francisco Examiner. Those, and it was under my actual first name and my actual last name, which I'm not going to share. And I'll share it with you, AC Wraith, one of these days. Yeah, the San Francisco Examiner and also the San Francisco Independent. I had a blip on newspapers.com. There you go. Yep, that was me. All right. So that being said, and when I'll text you, AC Wraith, I will text you my real name so that you can look up. Oh, there we go. Gotta go check the turkey legs. I will send you my real name. I'll text it to you, and you can look up my articles. I don't want to do that anymore. All right. That being said, I'm going to close out the show. I'm actually going to play the music because I'm actually going to download the audio today, and while I'm between basting chickens or basting turkeys, I'm going to be uploading to our actual audio podcast. So on that note, let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 713. We did record this on Sunday, April 21st, 2024. I'm Edie Sellers, and with me has been nobody. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS as in videos. And on Twitch, we are the GameHounds. Feel free to join us next week. Actually, I don't know what we're going to do next week because Nick's not around next week either. Maybe we might have chaos. If there's more like crazy news, I'll just do another solo show, or I just might be playing games. We might actually organize, see if we can all get together and play Helldivers together. Who knows? But we will be definitely doing something tomorrow, next week on Twitch. Again, finishing up the very last bit of Baldur's Gate 3. If you want to see how it ends, and you're not afraid of spoilers, feel free to join us at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. tonight Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern tonight on Twitch, the GameHounds on Twitch. We are 100% supported by our patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons. Our Patreon is gamehounds.net patreon.com/gamehounds. Thank you to all of our patrons. We only ask $1 a month. We're not looking to like make this. I got a job. I love my job. I don't need another job. I don't want to be a professional streamer, but it is kind of nice to see people donating $1. It means that you value this and that we're actually doing a good job, and we're not alone paying for this for by ourselves. It makes my podcast and Nick's podcast all our podcasts. So $1 a month is all we ask at Patreon, right down there, patreon.com/gamehounds. Also, whenever we do a show or whenever we're doing a stream or some kind of crazy thing happens, Discord. Our Discord channel link is below. Feel free to join us in the Discord. We'd love to have you there. And thank you to AC Wraith for being our link bitch. You are, once again, absolutely fantastic. You've done a wonderful job always. Everything that we mentioned, the link about it, was in the description wherever you were. So thanks, AC Wraith. We will talk to you tonight and or next week. Bye, everyone. God, I'm good. Girl still got it. She knows how to make it work. Anyway, I'm going to go check my turkey wings. AC Ray, thank you. And whoever else is in the chat room, hi. Sorry that you arrived just as we're leaving. Thank you so much for being here. And tonight, 7 p.m., it's going to be me. And I'm probably going to have a couple drinks in me as well because Sunday night playing games. Of course, I'm going to have beer. And turkey, a lot of turkey. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Have a good rest of your week, and see you then. And stay tuned to the Discord. I will announce in the Discord what we're going to do next week. Bye, everyone.